This is the inaugural BAIO Solution Sessions. And the reason we wanted to do this is because there's a lot of people out here hurting right now. And it's one thing to have a grand vision and to want people to see that vision, but there's people right here, right now in the present that can't feed their families. They feel like there's no hope. They feel like they're totally disenfranchised without the economy. So we have to address the short term as well as the long term, overall well-being of people. So the title for the show is Getting Your Share of the $17.4 trillion pie via the sharing economy. And I want to use a term that you probably heard. It's kind of cliche at this point because it's been around for the better part of, 50, 60 years, but it's become popular in the most recent 20 years, the term paradigm shift. And the reason I want to use the word paradigm shift because it's really a fundamental change in belief. So when people talk about the economy and people talk about I can't get a job, well, we have to look at things a little bit more holistically and see where we fit in. Now, I broke it down to the ridiculous. When I said $17.4 trillion and being able to take less than 3/8 millionths of a percent, because that's, it's like some crazy number. And that's a real number because what I did was look at how much is the average annual income in the United States, about $50,000, which means you're taking out of that pie of $17.4 trillion, you're just looking to take your pound of flesh, and that pound of flesh is equivalent of 1/10 of 1%, not even 1/100th of a percent. And I think that's very doable, but it requires people to think a little bit differently. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what the sharing economy is, and it's one of the great innovations that the internet has provided us with. I'm not really a tech person, believe it or not. I'm not really a person that's really techy. I'm an email hoarder. I got an email inbox 150,000 emails. I'm not really I'm not really a tech person. I'm an email hoarder, and I barely use apps and stuff. But the apps that I do use, they have a lot of functionality, and in a lot of cases, they can help you make money. So to talk a little bit about the sharing economy, the company you probably are most familiar with in the sharing economy, the reason it's considered as part of the sharing economy is because there are a lot of people in a lot of cities that don't have vehicles. In fact, one of the trends that has become most prevailing is the fact that the millennials are opting for not owning stuff. They really don't care about owning a house. They don't care about owning a car. They care about quality of life, which means they want to be close to a city center. They want to live and work and have recreation all within the city center. So that way it reduces their cost of owning a vehicle because of the maintenance, parking, gasoline, insurance. So they're able to have more disposable income to live and to party, right? And if you're willing to take on that ownership cost, that gives you opportunities for a company like Uber. If you're not familiar with Uber has become a juggernaut in just a 5-year period. They just actually made 5 years old in the past 4 months. And what Uber does is they use a peer-to-peer network, and they have people who have cars, and there's people who are looking for rides. They use the app along with the GPS, and whoever's the closest person near you can help you get your ride. And sometimes, it could be a situation where someone's going 2 blocks, and you might make a couple of bucks for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds of actual driving, and you might make $5, in just 1 or 2 minutes, right? They have a competitor by the name of Lyft, and Lyft basically does the same thing. They're just lesser known in certain markets. And there's a tertiary competitor by the name of Sidecar, which they've switched their business model to actually deliveries first because they're getting crushed by Uber for the most part. So just in that one space, transportation and logistics, you have 3 companies in certain cities. All 3 of these companies are available. And what this does is it allows you to get income pretty much instantly because in many cases, in the case of Uber, if you have a smartphone and you have a clean driver's record and no history of felonies or any type of violence, and the thing with them is, they'll work with someone in some cases if they have a felony, but it can't be like a violent felony because what they don't want is you have a dispute with someone and then you shoot a fair one with them outside the car, like yo, that's you know what I mean? So you can't want to shoot a fair one with the customers because they disagree with you, or you start having a sports conversation. Well, say you can't beat me, son. They can't go to that, so they can't deal with anyone who's got any temper issues or anyone who's got some pent up aggression from they was getting sunned when they was little and they couldn't fight back, so now they want to fight the passengers, so that's not gonna work. So, without further ado, did you want to add something to the sauce here?
Brother, please listen. When you talk, I shut up and I listen. So keep going. Anyway. People don't know what we got when it comes to Brother Thomas. So I'm telling all of y'all, listen to what this brother say, and I'm gonna shut up and be taught. So keep on going. You're doing wonderful, bro. Keep on going.
All right, so I actually learned that. I'm gonna tell you what's so funny how we all connected. So, Ms. Dawu, he's from the God is from Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx originally, and so is Holt is from Brooklyn. Actually, I found out about through a friend of mine who's from East New York, and that same friend is actually friends with Holt's sister. So we're all connected, and then on top of that, a friend of Holt's that he's known for a long time knew my father, and he had talked several times and didn't even know it. Sister Esther, she knew my father from when she was a little girl. So we just all connected. So the more the story is, by him telling me about Uber, I did a little research, and he actually quit. My friend actually quit, and I did some research, and when I found out that Goldman Sachs was involved with it, I said, yes, sir. I was all over it. The one thing about the Jew unit, they don't put no dumb money out there. So if Goldman Sachs they put $1.5 billion into this company, I'm trying to get in where I fit in.
Wow.
Because yes, they put $1.5 billion into the company. This company, after just 5 years, is valued at over $52 billion. Now, the thing is, you're a contractor, which, just so everyone understands, when you're an independent contractor, there's a legal distinction and difference because you're not an agent of the company, meaning anything that you do of your own accord, which gives them a little bit freedom. Of course, customer service is a big thing, so you have to be nice to people. But if something goes wrong, it keeps them away from being in the line of fire. If someone comes and says, "Well, this person said this," well, you don't represent the company because you're your own independent contractor, so you don't get benefits, right? And you pay for your own expenses. However, there's tremendous upside because of their model, which does what's called dynamic pricing. So times of higher demand will require higher pricing. So I'll just give you a good example of what can happen, all right? And it's not a guarantee it will happen, but if you know how action moves in your city, you'll know where to be at and how to get paid. So, like on Saturday night last week, like 1 o'clock in the morning, I was getting ready to call at night, and I got, one of the last calls I was going to take. So it was surge pricing, so it was like 3.5 times the normal price. So usually what ends up happening, you get some very, highly inebriated, usually young Caucasian women who need a ride home, right? And and when you start learning how to deal with certain types of drunks, it makes for a more pleasant ride. So usually they're just giddy, happy, and they want to sing country music. Okay, fine. I'll let them sit in the back, and I'll cheer them on. Oh, that was great. You should be on The Voice, right? So meanwhile, I'm banging them in the head. It was a 30-minute ride, and it was $80.
Wow.
So effectively, I made $160 an hour for dropping them. So I'm like, oh, man, you guys were awesome. And they gave me a tip, because we did cash tips on top of it. So once again, I have a real-life situation. One of my closest friends that I grew up with in New York lives here in the Charlotte area. He lost his job. Right now, he has a felony, so he can't go back working. He was an underwriter at a bank. He can't go back because he has a felony. No one's going to hire him. So he got on with Uber within a week. Now he didn't miss. He had money in his 401k. He don't even have to touch any of his money. And his wife's still working, so he actually was able to fully replace his income. And he still has benefits because his wife works at the bank. So they work at the same company. So, he was, when he first told me about it, don't even sweat it. He went. Now, mind you, he has this is a crazy. And I don't want anyone to take this as this can happen to me because I don't know everyone's background is, but he actually had a felony that was 9 years old, and he had a DUI that was 9 years old. Because right when he got that felony, because he had lost his job initially, he was pressed because he had young kids. He was determined not to let his kids starve. He went out there and did something he shouldn't have done, right? Got the felony, got the DUI, and they still worked with him because he's been clean ever since, and he had a stable job, and they looked at it and they said, okay, we'll rock with you, right? So they will work with some people. It just depends. You know what I mean? If you got a crazy rap sheet and you got like 40 cases from like 90 down, no kid, you might be on your own. But if you've been kind of taking it easy, they might rock with you. So that's just one instance of the sharing economy. Another one, it's a company called Postmates. So what Postmates is the Uber of delivery. So what they do is in most of your major cities, they basically deliver anything to you within an hour, and you don't even have to have a car. It could be a bike or a car. I would highly suggest if you have a car to do it, because that means you'll be able to do multiple deliveries, because what they allow you to do is stack your order. So that's how some people make up to $35 an hour. So so if you got, like, say, for instance, the city and you got 2 people or 3 people that are basically in the same location, and you can make your pickups all within the same route, you can instantly make $35 an hour just by knowing your city and knowing how to get there efficiently. So Postmates is fairly new. They're a startup out of San Francisco. And like I said, that's another opportunity to get in on the sharing economy. Cross my heart that